We're live. It is the Kent Beck Scrum. We have Ben, we have Sam, we have Michael. Here we are. I guess I will go first since I have several things on the tip of my tongue. Was having trouble deploying website 1 to Heroku yesterday. I think Heroku has now sorted itself out. And this fix that I was working on yesterday to avoid YouTube excessive pings of Slack, I think has been rolled out. The problem seems to have, it's gone away now for the morning. It didn't happen on the morning Scrum, but I've just the Scrum now, the Kent Beck Scrum, it just happened again. So the bug is clearly more complicated than I had given it credit for. More work required there. I'm also noticing that the start Hangouts button that we've got throughout the site is now actively broken in a very deceptive fashion. So that needs serious removing. What else is going on? I thought I was going to be pairing with Paolo on the async voter. I think the time changes confused us and he wasn't around. So I did make progress by managing to add all of the TAs to the MOOC now that I have admin access again. And yeah, just working through clearing up other things, as well as we've got a series of CI failures on local support and some weird stuff going on there. We've got the local support meeting tomorrow at the new earlier time. That's about it from my side. We've got the what's it called? We've got the async voter planning meeting coming up after this session now. There we go. Michael, how are things going with you?
Good, how are you? So, I didn't do much today so far for Agile Ventures, and thinking about what I'm going to do today if I do anything.
All right. Anything blocking you at all?
Not at the moment.
All right. Good show. Well, let's go on to Ben. Hey, Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I have a question about your rant at the beginning.
Oh yes.
The question was, what is a CI failure? You said with respect to.
So we have continuous integration.
Okay, that's what that. Okay.
And I can maybe show you more details of that at the end of the Scrum if you're interested.
I actually am. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't force it on you. But yeah, cool. Anything else I think you were pairing over the weekend, weren't you?
I was attempting to, and I finally succeeded yesterday with Desidero in Spain, and we were looking at a WikiEDU dashboard issue from the Google, well, from the GitHub page. Now, this was my. I decided to use this for my video for the AV102.
AV102 course.
That's right. So we looked at I think just getting up and running on pairing is kind of interesting and frustrating in equal measures because it was an hour-long conversation about exactly what we should be doing rather than, I was hoping we'd be like, all right, let's get down and dirty, play some GitHub Pong, because I've been practicing that, doing it with myself, sort of like, all right, break the test and then fix it and blah, blah, blah. So I thought we would do that. This issue, I picked it in particular because it had all kinds of non-scary designations, like good newcomer thing, a minor bug, all kinds of things where it was like, okay, we can knock this out of the park in an hour, and it didn't end up being the case. So I would like to maybe look at it a little bit. What it is well, I can can I paste in a link?
You certainly can. You certainly can.
Is that a reasonable behavior for this?
Yeah, you certainly do that. I mean, we could potentially even look at it in detail, but let's make sure that we kind of finish the Scrum portion, and then we can dive into different things. But so your report is sort of you did that thing. I totally relate to what you're saying about like annoyingly an hour can be just a faffing around kind of thing. Is there anything else blocking you? I guess it sounds like you'd like to make more progress on this story than you had already, and maybe is that the block?
That is the block, and I have some specifics about what exactly that is, but I guess later or at some point, some other point we do that. But yeah, that's the main thing. I'm relatively optimistic, but because we did actually make a bunch of conceptual progress, I think, about exactly what and we got to the point after an hour where I think we were about to write some code, but that's that's kind of how we felt for most of the thing too. So that's that's something we can talk about.
Yeah, cool. Anything else? Anything else on your mind related to the course or any other aspects of Agile Ventures or anything at all?
I did. Let's see. Yeah, with respect to tracking bugs and issues and things, I did sort of finish up filling in the fields for that assignment, and I put in the link to the Google issue. I'm sorry, the GitHub issue. Rather than a Pivotal Tracker issue, which is what they were asking for, because it wasn't on Pivotal Tracker, the issue we were working on. No problem there.
No, it shouldn't be a problem. No.
But I am interested in sort of getting up to speed in Pivotal Tracker and working with that too, because it seems like it's more full-featured than just the GitHub issues.
Yeah, it's
does other stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, maybe that's good report. That's our Scrum. I guess in order to answer your earlier question, because I think I do that quite briefly about CI, is so for example, we have on, this is the local support project, you see these red X's that we have next to the pull requests. So the pull requests come in, and we have a series of things that run on them, including, for example, code climate that sort of checks for, are there like style issues or what have you. We also have, there are a number of different groups that provide continuous integration support. On a local support, we happen to use Travis. And then,
the dashboard does too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And so, I'm kind of stuck here in that, I don't know, I've got some odd, like, in the output from the CI, and there's some odd sort of weird starting up thing, and then, like, I'm sort of starting to suspect this is a Travis issue. So that the Travis is basically, what it does when it's working properly is it runs all the tests and it tells us if the pull request is good or not. What we're seeing here is the builds being terminated early and getting stuck. So something strange is going on. We will. Anyway, so that was all of that, and we'll be having the local support meeting tomorrow where we'll probably look at that in more detail. But yeah, did you want to paste the link to the thing that you were working on? And we can have a look at that. I will say that it's in the ideal world, when one is pairing, you're able to drop into, the code is running, and it's green on both sides, or you've been able to replicate, everything and just get going. And the reality is often I find it does take about 2 hours to get to the end of things. It's maybe one day we will build a system that allows people to sort of drop in and with scaffolding be much more efficient off the bat. But
I'd be interested in talking about what that system would look like, actually. That seems like a cool thing. Can I back up for a moment and ask you about your issue that you mentioned?
Sure.
Because you said you think it was a Travis issue. Would that mean that it was a problem with how Travis is implemented, and it might not actually be your code that's culpable, but more?
Yeah, because normally what we're used to seeing when we have these red X's here is that we kind of, rather than this message here is it like here, this is it actually starting to run the tests. And usually this would be an extremely long output, and we would then see, when our code breaks, we would see like a red failing test thing. And I've seen that many thousands of times over and over again. Today is the first time I've ever seen this. No output has been received in the last 10 milliseconds. This potentially indicates a stalled build or something wrong with the build itself. It's conceivable that our build configuration has changed, and that then also caused some sort of knock-on problem. But as far as I'm aware of it, and I monitor all the pull requests coming in, we haven't changed our build configuration, which is in this .travis file here.
Is that version? Is that under version?
It's under version control, yes.
Yeah.
So this, I will not sensibly go and double check that. I suspect it may be that Travis is coming under extremely heavy load, that most of it with this Travis semaphore circle CI, when you're on the free tier, you basically, depending on how busy the system is, your builds will be held waiting in a queue.
Right. I see. So it's a free cloud service.
Yep.
This is okay. So it might actually be traffic related is what you're
That's,
possibly
I mean,
thinking.
you know, what I've seen more and more is, I think as these services become more popular, is that it takes longer and longer for our builds to get done. And, you know, I mean, in line with these, you know, same with Heroku, what tends to happen is you have these free tiers, and then the service on the free tier deteriorates over time to the point that you are increasingly compelled to pay for the service. So, you know, we'll see. But like, certainly, that's only a hypothesis, and I shouldn't get too carried away with it.
I see. All right. Okay. Interesting. I'd like to make another point about the pairing, which is it does seem like, at least in my case, I'm a bit more hesitant to sort of dive in and do any frobbing. Are you familiar with that term?
I can sort of infer, but what do you mean when you say frobbing?
What does that call? It's some engineer came up with that. The idea is just sort of play with stuff a bit aimlessly. Until you start to see, you know, and sort of narrow down your problem. But when there's someone else sort of waiting for you to finish what you're doing or say what you're saying, it actually is a little bit more like there's some pressure to do something real from the get-go, which I feel like pairing is the purpose to some degree is to sort of make it so that two people are working on getting into it at the same time. So I think that there's a little bit of an effect of the dynamic of the two people that are working on it that sort of has some, you know, that relates to
absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you know, depending on who you're pairing with, it can be a very different experience. And I mean, some of the advantages of pairing are often that while you're doing it, you're staying very task focused, and you avoid drifting off, and you've got someone to immediately bounce the ideas off. But potentially you can feel very self-conscious, and it might be that, you know, certain things that you would do on your own, which is just, you know, sort of experimenting with the code, you may feel, oh, I can't do that. It's got to be real. And it's, I think in the best pairing setup, you know, both people are able to get sort of comfortable with each other, and it's like, you know, mistakes are okay zone, and it's kind of like a shared consciousness where you can throw out an idea and it can be a wrong idea, and you can, in a sort of a positive sense of fun, kind of experiment with the code. But even that, I'm a big fan of frobbing and just like, you know, playing with different things, because I kind of tend to pathologically not trust documentation or my understanding. Like, I think my understanding of the system is always, like, you know, out of step, and it's only by repeatedly interacting with the system that I have any chance of getting my mental model of the system to be close to where we can make any progress. But some people are like, they really want to read everything around and kind of get really comfortable first before they start making any changes. I don't think there's a right or wrong approach. And part of doing pairing, I think, is to encounter other people and discover their approaches and contrast it with your own approach, and, you know, sort of learn through each other's processes.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, should I paste in this?
Well, you could do. We kind of now, since we've been having our chat, we've got to the time where we're supposed to be having the async voter kickoff meeting. So I guess I kind of probably need to drop out of this session. If you've got some questions about that, you might want to paste that link to the thing into Slack, and I guess feel free to do that in either, like, in the kind of scope that you want to do it in. So feel free to do it in AV102 if you want to make it like more about, you know, it's that course, or you could do it in the wiki edu-collab and flag me, and we can have a bit of a chat about it there. You know, whichever you prefer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, good stuff. Nice one. Excellent. Lovely to see you.
Likewise.
And yeah, I am going to be doing some pairing with people on the wiki edu dashboard very soon. If you'd like to book a pairing session with me, you can actually do so through, we've got a special offer thing where if you follow me on Twitter, you can book some of my time. So
I see. All right.
I'm going to pop a link there into the random the Hangout chat. I'll send it to you also I'll put it in AV102.
All right.
Just because there we go. Other AV102s could also do it. But yeah, maybe we can have a bit of a chat in Slack first, and then we'll move on from there.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Nice one. Great to see you, Ben. Good to see you, Mike. yeah, I'll maybe see some of you in the async voter meeting or anon. Bye for now.